You wake up, the sun is rising, you hear birds, or what you think are birds. You stretch, you walk to the window, and then you see it. A Tyrannosaurus Rex is drinking from your swimming pool. Its eye, the size of a grapefruit, slowly swivels toward you. Your brain, the same brain that orders lattes and scrolls through social media, suddenly activates a circuit that hasn't been used in 66 million years. And you realize in that frozen moment, you are no longer the dominant species on Earth. This is the hypothetical. What if humans lived with dinosaurs? Not the tiny feathered ones that survived, not the birds at your feeder, the giants, the sauropods with necks as long as school buses, the raptors that hunt in packs, the apex predators with teeth like railroad spikes. What if the asteroid missed? What if the Cretaceous mass extinction simply didn't happen and 66 million years of evolution brought mammals and dinosaurs to the same exact moment? What would your life actually look like? Your first problem is not the teeth, it's the grass, or rather, the lack of it. You are a primate that evolved on open savannas. Your ancestors stood upright to see over tall grass. Grasslands are your species' native operating system, but grasses didn't truly dominate the planet until after the dinosaurs were gone. In a dinosaur world, the ground is covered in ferns, cycads, and primitive shrubs. There is no amber waves of grain. There is no Serengeti. When you look out across a landscape, you don't see a golden horizon. You see a tangled, low green mat stretching endlessly, broken only by the tree ferns. You cannot see over it. You cannot scan for threats. You are functionally blind, and that means you cannot run. You are a long distance runner. That's your one superpower. A human being properly conditioned can outrun a horse over long distances. Your sweat glands, your upright posture, your spring like tendons in your legs all evolved for persistence hunting, for jogging an antelope into heat exhaustion over an entire afternoon. But a velociraptor doesn't tire the way an antelope does. A Tyrannosaurus, contrary to popular belief, was not a slow, lumbering brute. Recent studies by paleontologist John Hutchinson at the Royal Veterinary College suggest T. rex could likely reach speeds of 10 to 25 miles per hour. Not as fast as a cheetah, but considerably faster than you. And it doesn't need to run far, it just needs to be faster than you for about 3 seconds. So, your primary evolutionary advantage, the thing that put your ancestors on top of the food chain, is now useless. You are a slow, upright, sweating mammal in a world of sprinting reptilian predators with binocular vision and serrated teeth. The math is not in your favor, so you build a wall. You're human, that's what you do. Your species' second superpower is tool making. You cannot outrun a dinosaur, but you can outthink one. You build fences, you dig moats, you construct elevated platforms in the tree ferns where long necks cannot reach. But here's the twist your brain hates. The dinosaur doesn't care about your wall. It doesn't see a barrier, it sees a puzzle. Corvids, the family of birds that includes crows and ravens, are direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs. They use tools, they solve multi step puzzles, they recognize human faces and teach their offspring to hold grudges against specific individuals. Dr. Kevin McGowan at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology has documented crows remembering human faces for years. This intelligence did not come from nowhere, it was inherited. The dinosaur at your fence is not a dumb lizard. It's a warm blooded, potentially social, problem solving animal with millions of years of evolutionary fine tuning for hunting. Your wall buys you time, not safety. At night, the real horror begins. Not the roaring, the silence. You are a diurnal primate. Your eyes are optimized for daylight and color. You have a blind spot in each eye where the optic nerve attaches, and your night vision is pitiful compared to virtually any predator. Dinosaurs, particularly small theropods, likely had excellent low light vision. So when the sun sets in your hypothetical world, you do not light a campfire and tell stories. You put out the fire. Every flicker of light is a beacon screaming your location. You sit in the dark in your elevated shelter, listening to the heavy footfalls in the fern beds below. You cannot see them, but they can see you. Or worse, they can smell you. Your sense of smell is laughable. A German Shepherd's nose is about 40 times more sensitive than yours. A T. rex's olfactory bulbs, according to research by Dr. Darla Zelenitsky at the University of Calgary, were exceptionally large, suggesting a sense of smell comparable to that of a turkey vulture. It could likely detect the scent of your sweat, your cooking food, your fear from miles away. You cannot hide your scent. You are a leaking bag of odors in a world of noses far sharper than anything on Earth today. So you band together. You find other humans, a small tribe, a dozen of you. You hunt, you gather, you try to carve out a niche, but the niche is already full. This is the ecological reality your hypothetical must confront. Every niche you occupy today, farmer, builder, engineer, artist, was empty when your ancestors crawled into it. The dinosaurs occupied everything first. Massive sauropods like Argentinosaurus browsed the treetops. Duck-billed hadrosaurs cropped the low vegetation. Ceratopsians like Triceratops filled the large herbivore role that bison and rhinos hold today. And above them all were the theropods, from the chicken-sized Compsognathus to the bus-sized T-Rex. There was no room for a medium-sized, squishy primate with no natural weapons. Ecologists call this niche incumbency. The first species to occupy a niche often hold it against invaders. The dinosaurs had a 150 million year head start. You don't break into that system, the system breaks you. But you're clever, you adapt. You figure out which eggs you can steal, you learn which plants aren't poisonous. You observe that the massive sauropods are actually relatively docile, that they ignore tiny creatures underfoot. Perhaps you build your village under the feet of a herd of brontosaurus, using them as living shields against predators. Perhaps you domesticate small ornithischians, breeding them like chickens. Perhaps you survive, and this is where the hypothesis turns a mirror back on you, because you are now living exactly as a prey species. For 99% of your evolutionary history, you were prey. Your ancestors were eaten by saber-toothed cats, giant eagles, crocodiles, and monitor lizards. The reason you startle at loud noises is because the ones who didn't startle got removed from the gene pool. The reason you crave fatty, high calorie foods is because your ancestors never knew when the next meal would come. In a world with dinosaurs, these traits don't fade, they define you. Your entire culture, your mythology, your gods, your nightmares are shaped by these creatures. The dragon myths that appear independently in nearly every human civilization, in this hypothetical, they aren't myths, they're memory. Your art would be filled with them. Your earliest cave paintings, instead of depicting bison and deer, would show towering reptilian shapes with teeth. Your first stories, passed down through thousands of generations around fires kept low and hidden, would be about the clever trickster who outwitted the giant lizard. Your language would be shaped by them. The word for danger and the word for tooth would likely share the same root. The word for silence and the word for survival might be the same word entirely. And then, after 100,000 years of this, you might finally do what humans do. You might start winning. Because you would develop weapons, not just spears, but projectiles. The atlatl, the bow and arrow, the sling. You would learn that the massive sauropods, for all their size, are vulnerable to a well placed shot to the eye. You would learn that dromaeosaurs, for all their pack hunting intelligence, are still animals that can be trapped, corralled, and killed. Dr. Curtis Marine at Arizona State University has argued that projectile weapons were the great equalizer for early humans, turning a slow, soft primate into the most lethal predator on the savanna. Given time, you would apply that lethal creativity to dinosaurs. You might wipe them out deliberately, systematically. The same species that drove mammoths, mastodons, giant sloths, and woolly rhinos to extinction would not hesitate to do the same to a T Rex. You would burn the fern forests to create grasslands. You would drain the swamps. You would hunt the largest species for their meat, their bones, their feathers. You would capture the smaller ones and breed them into docility, into miniaturized shadows of their former selves. You would turn a velociraptor into a chicken, a tiny, feathered, flightless bird that lays eggs for your omelet. Wait, that already happened. That's exactly what happened. The dinosaurs didn't die out. The birds are their direct descendants. You already live with dinosaurs. Every pigeon on a city street, every sparrow at your feeder, every chicken in a factory farm is a living, breathing theropod dinosaur. You have already dominated them. You have already bent them to your will. The fear you feel when you imagine a T Rex at your window is the same ancient circuit that fires when a large dog barks at you from behind a fence. The fascination you feel when you look at a dinosaur skeleton in a museum is the same part of your brain that helped your ancestors track and avoid predators. You are not meeting something alien. You are meeting your ancient adversary, already transformed, already tamed, already chirping on your windowsill. So, what if humans lived with dinosaurs? You do. You just won so completely that you forgot you were even playing the game. And tomorrow morning, when you wake up, the sun will rise, you'll hear birds, and now you'll know exactly what you're really hearing.